For the next workflow, I want to look at how you can select masks in a more automatic way. And we'll be using Segment Anything, Model 2, known as SAM2. This is a model by Meta, creators of Facebook. And this has been sort of loaded into Comfy UI using as our custom node. So if I hit play, I've muted different parts of the workflow, but I've muted the bottom. I have an image here that I can just hit play. So this is the auto segmentation custom node, and it's basically just going to make a set of colors around what it thinks are unique items. And then currently it's looking for the color black, and or maybe it's not the exact shade of black, but I can basically hit this blue circle here and select any color from here. So I can select, for example, this tree here, and then hit play, and it should basically just click and select and get a mask around anything with a unique color from here using this workflow. Then I could take this mask, same as before, and in Paint or do anything else with it. So this is sort of an automatic mask. If I mute this, come down to this next section here. No, unmute this. This is using text to select specific items on a thing. So if I just hit ground and I hit play, currently, okay, so this is, let me just mute this here for a second. Okay. So this is just selecting one item, and you can kind of see this bounding box around the top here, which is 0. If we had more than one, it would display that way. So that way it sort of selects the ground. This is empty here because it's not selecting a second thing. So if I come here and I select something that there's multiple of, like tree, in this case, now I can see it has tree 0 and tree 1, or one tree thing. So now I can turn this back on. Okay, and it's basically selecting, so from the coordinates from Florence, item 0, item 1, and isolating those masks. So there's tree 1, tree 0. I can then combine those masks together. These are just preview nodes. But I can combine those masks together and get my final mask of the list of items if I didn't want everything. I also could mess around with these toggles here. So if I change this bounding box up here to this one, this is just basically saying this is false for the batch. And let's say hit play again and change individual objects to true. And now it selects everything that is in this previous image. So let's say we use this here as our actual output mask. And I've also done a set mask. I'm not sure if that's muted or not. Yeah, that's unmuted. A set mask, which is going to send my mask to the next section, and a set image to send the original image to the next section. So let's say we're sending both trees here. And if I was to unmute this, and now you can see here it's got the get image, get mask going into my K-sampler. And I could do cherry blossom trees surrounded by white orange building. And now it's going to use the regular flux model, so not the fill flux model, just to show that they both work. And that should basically in Paint do that for us. Also check in case from a previous workflow that you haven't grown a mask. So that's just to say that you can add a sort of buffer to grow the mask up to 64 pixels or 64. Well, it's definitely, I think, up to 64 here. Not sure what if that's a percentage or a pixel number or something, but and you also got the grow mask in this one, which is expanding by 1. But sometimes it doesn't select very smooth things, so you might want to use the expansion of the mask in order to sort of fill the whole area, and it doesn't just get kind of a scattered image. This is quite a challenge to set up, but if you just zoom into different workflows, it's set up to run. I think the only confusing thing is probably here, where these are previews and whether you're getting everything or getting individual items and then putting them together. Okay, so now we have kind of our cherry blossom trees. You can kind of see there that it's not doing the best job there with this white background, but it's a decent effort. If I was to change here, let's say select the ground and do a crowded lecture theater with architect presenting. Hopefully this automatically just selects, no, okay. This just needs to be muted because it's got no inputs. And I also need this muted. Okay, so now it's selecting this area. And hopefully we'll do so this is not going to save in the cherry blossoms because we're going to go back to the original image, but you could do it incrementally to sort of in-paint to add multiple items or do multiple edits so sort of successively. Yeah, okay. It kind of crops the mask a little bit because it doesn't go up. I guess with no one presenting it, didn't really get rid of the trees because they're, I think, not part of the mask. As you can see, it sort of leaves out the trees. But I think that's a decent job orientating the chairs in the direction you expect them to be orientated. And yeah, just to try another one, just to practice this little section of selecting boxes here. And can I drag this in? Yeah, there we go. So this is a 600 by 400 pixel image. It's not a very big image, but just to practice, let's turn off this for a second. Select, let's say, a cup, a glass, saucer. Okay, so now we've got 1, 0, 2. Let's put the word mug in here as well. See if that gets our last one. Yeah, there we go, mug. Okay, so it's sometimes identified more than one thing, which is fine. It's just going to add the pixels. And if 0, let's say black and white, right? So if 0 is the background and 1 is the foreground of what is being selected, white plus white is white. So it's just going to select the same pixels twice, which is white. Therefore, it's just selected, which is fine. So in that sense, I can select each of these once. By using this, I could, let's say I only wanted to select one of them. So I'll put this back, this bounding box. So whatever item is 3, let's say I could just change select item 3. And I might need to change this one as well. Okay, so now I'm just selecting that one cup. And then let's turn this on. And this is a very low pixel image, but we can do a colorful mug. And then in Paint. And I should change our image automatically because it's all just connected. And calculating the image. Oh, it just kind of, let me try, just do it again, see if it does a better result. Interesting. It's kind of set to delete it from the background for some reason. Okay, it's kind of drawn something inside of our boundary, which is not perfect. One thing we can do is let's just grow the mask by 20, which might be too big, and then just fill in that area. So now it's less of this shape and probably more of a circle. Just to say, do a mug somewhere in this area. I think because this is a low pixel image, it's not working very well, but let's see if I switch to okay. I'm confused whether this should be 8 or 1 based on some documentation. Okay, well, I think if this wasn't such a low resolution image, it might work slightly better. But yeah, so that's basically our workflow of selecting masks automatically and then using them for inpainting.